Hi there. It's a great day to be together. Happy to be with you. Brad Macbeth here with the Simple Plan. And we're not going live today because we're taking a bit of a day off. But I wanted to post for you as well so you could actually see what we would have been talking about if we were live. And today's question that we want to look at on Ask an Advisor is how much money do I need to retire? And that question is directly tied to Canadians' number one financial fear, which is running out of money in retirement. So, want to thank you very much for joining us today. You can always find us on Facebook at Macbeth Group. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at Cash Coach Canada on Twitter and at Macbeth Group on Instagram. Thanks very much today to our sponsor, the Simple Plan Life Insurance. You can get your own custom financial life insurance quote at getthesimpleplan.com/quotes from all major Canadian insurers. You can also calculate how much life insurance you might need at getthesimpleplan.com/how much. And it's a great time to look at your life insurance because costs have never been lower for life insurance, and they're probably going to go up in the next few months due to the economic climate we're in. So take a spin over there, see if you've got the right amount of coverage and whether you could maybe save yourself some money on how much you're paying. Of course, we have a helpful article for you as well. For those who are just getting started out investing, it's called The ABCs of Investing in Under 5 Minutes. You can get it at bit.ly/ABC5Mins. That's bit.ly/ABC5MINS. And that is all caps, all capital letters. So, how much money do I need to retire? Well, that's the big question. And you're going to be able to check that out for yourself at uh, bit.ly dot, bit.ly/SP Retire Calc. That's bit.ly/SP Retire Calc. And that's all lowercase. So I'm going to show you how this works. We'll take it out for a spin, and then you can head over there and check it out for yourself. Calculate for yourself how much money you're going to need to accumulate and all the variables that go with that. So let's have a look at how this works. So here's our calculator. Interesting little sidebar that you can identify when you look at this. You get to pick your province first. That's because the tax rates differ from each province, and our calculator takes into account how much tax you might be paying because we want to know how much after-tax money we're going to have to live on in retirement. So interesting note, if you look at Ontario or at British Columbia, come on, there we go. You'll note that the calculated amount of tax is around $10,000 for this amount of income. Let's see what Ontario said. So BC's 10,610, Ontario's 10,756, so pretty much the same. But oh man, some surprises there. First off, Alberta, higher, 11,710, used to be the cheaper location. And you can get in some pretty crazy tax amounts. We take a look, for example, at Quebec, 13,829. That's 30% more tax you're paying if you're in Quebec than if you're in Ontario or British Columbia. Anyway, let's go back. We'll use Ontario for our reference today. And okay, so the first thing is you want to set what is the target, and this is in today's dollar terms, what is the target taxable income that you want to have in retirement? So we've got 60,000 in here. That's a fine number. You might need more, you might need less, but we're using 60,000 for today. So if we're in Ontario, we can see that we're paying 10,756 in taxes for that, and that we would actually put in our pockets about $49,200. So if we want to, we can actually adjust by looking at our annual after-tax income need. So play with that if you want, and that's going to adjust your numbers. We're going to look at indexing at a certain rate of percentage. What this is doing is this is figuring in how much inflation you want to calculate. So 2% over, traditionally might be considered low. It's probably higher than current rates of inflation. But, we've been in such a low interest rate and low inflation environment for such a long time, that's probably a reasonable number. And this is a key question. How many years do you want to generate income for? We have 25 years, so what does that mean? It means if I was 65 years old when I retired, I would be generating an income until I was 90. So I honestly don't like going to 90. It's quite possible you're going to live past 90. And just as an example, if you're a married couple that both make it to age 65, the likelihood that one of you will make it well past 90 is quite high. So we want to add some extra in there. So I'm actually going to go 35 years there. We're going to go to age 100, assuming we calculate based on retiring at age 65. All right, and so you'll see here, the question is, do you want to deplete the capital at the end of 35 years? What does that mean? Well, that means you're either taking your nest egg and running it down to zero by the time you die. The joke goes, we're going to make that last check bounce. Or you're going to want to leave some money behind. So we're going to say, no, this is just our retirement nest egg. Any estate planning we'll do completely separately. So if we want to leave legacy money, we'll figure that out differently. So we're going to deplete that capital at the end of 35 years. Now, rate of return. So what do you think the rate of return you're going to get on your investments? Now, one thing I want to point out, of course, is this is a simplified calculation. It's using one rate of return, both before and after retirement. Now, there's more calculators we can use to get more complex about that will look at different rates of return before retirement, after retirement, and all that. This is just a simple tool to get us a ballpark number. All right, so we've got rate of return set at 6% here. And then we go to interest, dividends, and capital gains. What does this mean? Well, this is the way in which we're going to earn our returns. So, for example, interest income, that comes from money that's in investments that are classified by our friends at Canada Revenue Agency as interest income. And that is taxed at your normal income taxation rate. And so GICs, savings accounts, these are the kinds of things, some private investments in fact, these are the kinds of things that return interest income. Bonds may well be that way as well, most likely are. Then we've got what are called eligible dividends. So in Canada, dividends are taxed differently than interest and capital gains. So we might be getting dividend income. For example, you might own things like bank stocks. Those produce dividends, or telecom stocks, or what have you. There's all sorts of stocks in Canada that give off dividends. And so if you're earning dividends, you're taxed at a certain different rate there. And then finally, capital gains. That is when you are, so let's say eligible dividends come from what we would call income producing stocks, and capital gains come from what we would call growth stocks. That is where they're not paying out an annual dividend, they're just growing in value. Now, stocks can do both, can combine both in a single stock as well. So your capital gains are taxed again differently. You're taxed at approximately 50% of capital gains. And so we need to decide, well, what's our investment mix? That's really what you're saying here is, what's my investment mix? So if you were in 100% pure stocks with no dividends even, well, then you'd be at 100% capital gains. How would you do that? Well, you would say, that I'm going to zero on the interest, zero. Now, this is unlikely because in your portfolio you may well have dividend producing stocks, but it depends how they're held. So that's a much more complicated question for another day. So in this case, we have 100% capital gains, and so the capital required to generate $55,000 worth of income, again, for those 35 years, you can see is 890,000 approximately if it's not indexed. That means if it's not keeping up with inflation, and you're going to want to keep up with inflation because over 35 years, even 2% inflation is going to cause the value of your money to be reduced by half. And it'll probably go faster than that. So you would actually need 1.14 million. So you can see here, these are the assumptions that you're paying 6% rate of return, 0.45% in taxes, 2% inflation for our indexed one, and then the net return of 3.54. So again, the important number here is your 1.14 million. And you have to ask yourself, am I on track to accumulate that much money? So we're going to take a look at that another day. We're going to show you how to figure out how much I need to be saving on a monthly basis in order to reach that target. But this gives you an idea of how much you're going to need to accumulate. So I encourage you, go and have a look at our calculator, work with it, check it out, make sure you select your province, and figure out how much money you're going to need to accumulate in order to be sure that you can retire comfortably and not run out of money in retirement. So thanks very much for listening today. I hope that's been helpful to you. Again, you can go check that out for yourself. You can go get access to the calculator at bit.ly/SP Retire Calc. That's all lowercase, bit.ly/SP Retire Calc. And you can get, today you can download our helpful primer on investing, the ABCs of investing in under 5 minutes at bit.ly/ABC5mins. That's all caps ABC5MINS. Thanks again to our sponsor always, the Simple Plan Life Insurance. Get your free no obligation quote at getthesimpleplan.com/quotes. That's from all major Canadian insurers. You can check pricing or calculate how much you might need in life insurance at getthesimpleplan.com/how much. Thanks very much for joining us today. Again, you can always find us on Facebook at Macbeth Group. We're also available on Instagram and Twitter. Find us on Twitter at Cash Coach Canada and on Instagram at Macbeth Group. My name's Brad Macbeth. Thanks very much for spending time with us today. We appreciate it. Drop us a note. If you have any questions, we're always here to help. Thanks very much and have a